welcome back for another video. I would love for you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This video is about those people who are afraid to take a chance and walk out on faith. You know, I've been listening to a few people I know, and they want a change in life, but they're afraid to go out and make that change. So I'm going to tell you what I did because I wanted a better life for myself. So let's get started. I was living in Florida and I was working at a nursing home. I was a CNA. Everyone knows, well, if you're in the medical field or if you are familiar with the medical field, you know that CNA is hard work. I mean, it's back-breaking work. And I don't feel like CNAs get the pay for what they do. There are some good CNAs, and there are some CNAs who show up and they work exactly enough for the money they get. But me, I was a good CNA. I was a good CNA. I never thought I'd be a CNA. I never wanted to be a CNA, but sometimes the plan you have for your life doesn't always work. It's always God's plan and not your plan. So to start this off, I was working at a nursing home in Florida, and I was tired. I was working hard. I wasn't getting the pay that I wanted, and I wanted better. You know, I was every payday, once you pay rent and car insurance and buy groceries, you're like, dang, I don't have anything else left. You know, you just have enough to make it to the next pay period. And I didn't like living like that. So I had to make a change. And I was the only one who could change it. And age shouldn't matter. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. And that's what I did. I went to work, this was on a Saturday. I was working 11 to 7. And I had a client, a resident. He, excuse me, he was a Caucasian older man. I think he was like in his 80s. And he turned his call light on. And I went into his room to see what he wanted. He was like, I need you to change me. I'm like, okay, sir, give me a minute. I need you to change me right now. That's what you get paid for, is to clean my ass. I'm like, wow. So I went outside, gathered my material, went back inside his room to proceed to cleaning. So I got him all cleaned up. The whole time I'm cleaning this guy, he's rambling on about some nonsense, you know, and it's like over my head, I'm in another zone. You know, you have to treat everyone with respect, you know, and he was in his own zone doing what he wanted to do. And I was a little pissed off, but I did my job. And so that night, as the night progressed, I was like, I got to get out of this. I'm tired. I've been doing this for a long time. I started doing it when I was 19, basically, after my brother passed, my grandparents got sick, so I kind of like had to take over, making sure they took their medications and all that stuff, and it kind of fell into my lap. It's nothing I wanted to go to. I never thought I'd go to school for CNA. So in my life, I only had 2 careers, basically 3 careers I was interested in. It's the medical field, law enforcement, and acting. So at this point, I'm like, you know, something has to give. Something really has to give. I'm tired of doing this. I love my residents, but this is not me. You know, I want better. I want more, and I deserve more. So Saturday night, you know, as it progressed on and on, so when I got home that morning, Sunday morning, I was working 11 to 7, I went to church. I went home, took a shower, got a 2-hour nap, and went to church. I went to this particular church every Sunday. Every Sunday I was at this church. And every Sunday, I felt like the pastor was talking to me. Because I wanted to make this big change in my life, but I was afraid to do it because I didn't know how. You know, excuse me. Sometimes your family don't always say, okay, go out there, you can do anything you want to do. But my grandmother always told me, you can do anything you want to do. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything you want to do. Keeping that in mind, I was in church that Sunday listening to the bishop. He kept saying, you know, if you have to step out on faith, give God all his credit, step out there, you make the first step and God will do the rest. So I was like, okay. Sermon was good. After church, I went home, took a nap because I had to work that night. That Sunday night. So got up that Sunday night, going to work, thinking about what he said the whole time. This is the first sermon that he had where he was telling the congregation, step out on faith, step out on faith. So that night, I was talking to one of my friends. She's a nurse, and I worked under her for years. And I was talking to her. Like, I want to change. I want to change the scenery. I'm tired of doing this. I've been doing this for X amount of years. I'm tired. I want something else. So that Monday, I would have been off. So as Monday approached, I went home, took a shower, got some rest. Did what I usually do. Did my laundry, got my apartment straight, and I got on the computer and started looking for a correction officer. I said, well, I started at the bottom and worked my way up. Go from a correction officer to a police officer and work my way up to detective. So, okay, that sounds good. So I started looking in Jacksonville, St. Augustine. At the time that I was applying for this job, they weren't paying for the students to go to the course, and they weren't paying for students to take the course and get paid. For me, at the time that I was interested in it, I would have had to pay for the course myself and work at my 11 to 7 job all night, go to class and sit for 7 hours, and go back to work the next night, and I couldn't do that. Working 11 to 7 it does a number on your body. And I would have to leave there and go sit in class all day, which I knew I would be sleepy. I wouldn't learn anything. So I started doing my research. So I had an uncle, one of my mother's brothers, who used to live in Maryland. So I said, let me see what Maryland offers for their correctional officers. So I started doing my research, and I said, they will pay me to go through their program and take classes for the program, and I will be getting a paycheck the whole time. I'm like, that's what I need. While I'm going through the class, I'll be getting paid. That way I can keep my bills up. I said, that sounds good. So with that being said, I started the procedure. I started the process of taking the test. I was traveling from Jacksonville to Maryland, driving. I would take one of my best friends with me. So I didn't want to drive by myself. Sometimes if my daughter was off from work, we would go. We'd get a room for 2 days. I stayed there. I took the written test, received my results. I did really well. I had a psychological test. I don't remember all the tests. Psychological, you had your background investigation with investigative officers. And, it's just a lot of paperwork. It's not an easy process. Some people it take it's longer. Some people it's 6 months. Some people a year. Some people a little longer than a year. But I was one of those where I was just going through the process. I went, did all the tests. So basically, I was waiting. I was playing the waiting game in Florida. So one day, everything was by email. You wouldn't receive any letters through the mail. Everything was an email. So I got my email one day, and they said, you've passed all the tests. Would you be considered for this position? I said, heck yeah. So I responded, let them know. So I was getting really scared. I'm like, man, I got it. So, I was still working as a CNA. So I didn't know when they were actually going to call me for the job. But I knew I had the job. It was just a matter of them calling you, letting you know when the next class was going to start and all that. So in the meantime, I talked with my supervisor at the facility where I was working. I said, listen, I need some shifts. I don't care what shift it is. I work 11 to 7. I'll do some 7 to 3, 3 to 11, whatever shift you need me to work. I will work that shift because, I'm getting ready to leave. I need to change the scenery. And I talked with her about it. She said, hey, you do what you have to do. I'll back you. Just let me know. When the schedule comes out, come talk with me. So, the schedule came out. And, I had some good shifts, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. I had some 11 to 7, 7 to 3. I was doing it. I was tired, but I was doing it. I was on a mission. A couple of people, they said, girl, you ain't gonna do that. You'll come back. I just, put that little smile out there and kept going. So, I'm still going to church, going to church. I don't care if I only got an hour of sleep. I was getting my shower and I was going to church. I needed that message. I needed that to give me confirmation that, hey, you can do this, you can do this. So as time went by, things started dwindling down, you know. They were getting, you know, I received an email like, we'll be doing the process of elimination soon. And so it kind of worked hand in hand because my lease was about to end. This was in September, the end of August going into September. I said, well, I don't want to renew my lease because as soon as I renew my lease, I'm thinking they may call me for the job and I have to leave and that will go on my credit. So I said, So what I did, this is what I did. I packed up my apartment. I put all my furniture, all my belongings into storage. I kept out, since I was going to Maryland, I kept out some winter clothes, casual clothes, and I kept out my summer clothes because it was still warm in Maryland. And I put, put my microwave in my truck and a few other necessities I thought I may need. I didn't have a place to live. I did not have a place to live. I said, Lord, it's in your hands. I have to do this. If I don't do it, I will continue to be a CNA. And I don't want that. I did not want that. So I packed up my Jeep with the stuff that I thought I would need, put everything in storage. So along the way, my daughter was like, Mom, I want to go with you. I told my daughter, I said, listen, I do not have anywhere to live. I'm going to be living out of my Jeep until they call me. She's like, yeah, sure. She thought I had a place to live. I didn't. And I told her that. But she still wanted to come. She thought I was joking. So, packed up everything, put it in storage, and left. I got to Maryland Labor Day of 2014. The first place I remember going was down to the harbor. Yeah, nice. I had been there a few times. My uncle had taken us, and it was really nice. So we stayed there. We got something to eat, and my daughter's like, well, when are we going to the apartment? I'm like, hey, we do not have an apartment. She said, you for real? I said, I'm for real. I said, I'm doing this for me. You wanted to come along. I'm doing this for me. And so she was like, wow, where are we going to stay? So when my uncle was living in Maryland, there was an area called Russet, the Russet area. It was like, when I first went there, it was like nothing but woods. But when I went back in 2014, there were homes, a library, Walmart. I mean, it's like that community had their own Walmart, their own library, and it was really nice. So our first couple of nights, we stayed at Walmart in the parking lot. My daughter slept in her car. I slept in my Jeep. We did this, and the money that I lived off was money that I had saved from my job. They paid me for my sick time, all my time that I had on the books, they paid me for. So it was a pretty good check, and I said, I have to make this check work until I start working as a correctional officer. So in the meantime, we live every day, we kept ourselves, we weren't like the regular homeless people because we could sleep in our vehicle. What we would do we were living in Laurel. We would park behind a Motel 8 in Laurel. We would park there at night every morning before people start getting up, moving around because the motel stayed packed. We would go to the McDonald's up the street and we would park in their parking lot, and we would go in there every morning and have a sausage biscuit, a cup of coffee, and a cup of water. We did that every morning. And then the library opened up at 9 o'clock. So at 9, a little bit before the library would open up, we would go to the library, and they had these 2 huge bathrooms. So the minute they would open, I would grab a stall, and my daughter would grab a stall in the bathroom. And well, I wouldn't say a stall. It was 2 different bathrooms, and they were huge. I mean, they were really huge. So she would grab one, and I would grab the other, and we'd go in there and wash up, brush our teeth, change our clothes. Once we finished, we'd go to our car, put everything in there, and we'd spend a lot of time in the library. I did a lot of reading. I read so many books, and my daughter mostly stayed on her computer, her little game systems that she had. And we did this for a while. We ate. It wasn't the best food, the most healthiest food, but Sam's, Sam's have the little food. We ate there. But, for me, I was a little nervous because I'm like, I'm going to the academy. I don't want to gain any weight. I don't know what requirements, they're going to ask of us as far as working out. So every day I would walk. I mean, I didn't even measure the miles. I knew it was a good distance. The area was really nice. The neighborhood was nice. So I would just walk. And people didn't know we were homeless. We didn't dress like we were homeless. We would clean fresh clothes every day. On the weekends, I would wash our clothes. I also took my iron with me. I had a pad that was made out of a blanket and a beach towel. I made it really thick. And I would iron over our clothes for whatever we were wearing. Well, whatever I was going to wear. Like my daughter, she's fresh out of the dryer. She's good. I had to have my creases. I had to have my shirts ironed, my bottoms ironed. So, we hung out at the library for a good while from September up until October. So, October, like a week before the 14th, I received an email that you're going to meet at such and such a time on the 14th, and we're going to start the process of getting your ID, your uniforms, and all that. I was so happy. I cried because I was like, man, how long is it going to take? Here I am the whole month of September, nothing. And I think it was like the first week in October I received my email. So I was happy about that. So on a Monday, I went downtown Baltimore and did my paperwork. Got my uniforms, met with the warden, basically found out which jail I'd be going to. At this point, they were telling you go to the academy, you're going to go to this jail. So many different jails to choose from. You can go to the jail in the city, or you can go out to another county for the jails. But they gave me my jail. And so about they said we did paperwork on Monday. I think it was like that Wednesday. We had to dress for the academy. You dressed in your Class A's, went to the academy. Scared because I didn't know what to expect. And the academy was in Sykesville, Maryland. Went there, really scared. First day at the academy, they came out of nowhere. The officers that were going to be taking control of us, they came out shouting and going on, which was really, I guess that was just protocol for them to put the fear of Jesus in us, and they did. But, excuse me, but through the whole process, it was a lesson in there. The whole time that I was going through, most of the time while I was going through the academy, I was living out of my truck, out of my Jeep. Classes, I think I had to be there at 7, and I was like an hour and maybe 30 minutes away from class, maybe a little less, I'm not really sure. I would take my bath. I believe once I leave class, I will go to the library, take my bath, iron over my uniform, get ready for the next day. That morning, it's like maybe 5 o'clock, I'd wake up, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'd wake up. I would wash my face, excuse me, I would wash my face, get ready, get dressed for class, and head off to Sykesville. My daughter was in her car next to mine, and she was still asleep. So while I was in the academy, she was working 2 part-time jobs because this October starting to get a little cool and we still didn't have anywhere to live. So I continued my routine, going to class, and I'm so blessed because I was scared, but I was still blessed because I didn't have a house to go home to after end of class. After class, I didn't have apartment or a house to go home to, so I would go to the library, take my bath, iron over my uniform, go out to my truck and study, because it's like maybe every third, it's certain days you have a test. Unless it's like a Wednesday or Friday, you may have a test. You have 3 times to pass the test. So I would study by the lights in the outside of the library. Once I get my bath and get all my clothes ready for the next day, I would sit there and study till about I don't know, maybe 7. Then I'll leave the library, excuse me, and then I would go to Motel 8 and park around back. The deal with parking there is the police would circle that area. So basically I would park, I would stoop down in my seat, you know, lay it back because I was tired anyway and take a nap. And my Jeep had dark tint on it, so I was good. My daughter's car had dark tint, so she was good. So a lot of times when I would be asleep, my daughter wouldn't be there. She wouldn't get there sometimes, so maybe 8 or 9 because, you know, she was working at 2 part-time jobs. I would be asleep. And that was our routine every day. That was our routine. The weekends were mine. The weekends were, basically that was my time to wash up my uniforms, iron over them, wash up my clothes that I had messed up that week, wash my daughter's laundry, get everything together for the next week, do some studying, and I was doing good. So as I started going through the academy, we started, you know, getting paid. I wasn't sure, I know I couldn't afford an apartment. So I started putting ads on Craigslist and posting, you know, female needs a room, 2 females. It was kind of crazy, a little scary because some people answered the ad, yeah, you know, we got some nasty statements, you know, I'll take both of y'all. You know, it was just crazy stuff. And I was like, Lord, you know, it's October, it's getting cool, you know, November is going to be even colder, you know, cooler. So, you know, something has to give. So I kept putting in ads, and when the month of November came around, I think a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, I had an ad and someone answered it. And she said, it was a lady, she said, I have a room for rent, $700. Excuse me. I said, okay, is there a way I can meet with you and check the room out? She said, sure. She gave me her address. And that Saturday, I think I went on a Saturday, yeah, because she was off from work. So I went to her apartment. It was a small room. I'm like, shh, I'm paying $700 for a room. There wasn't anything in there. So my daughter and I, we took the room because you know, it was about to really get cold. And we took the room, and I paid her down her deposit. Well, she said $700, but when we got there, she was like, since it's 2 of you, I'm charging $730. I'm like, man, this sucks. But, you know, I needed a room. So I was paying $730 to stay in a room at this apartment. So I'm basically paying like maybe over half of her rent. So, you know, I said, hey, yeah, you have to do what you have to do. I was living there and working downtown Baltimore. So I continued to do that for a while, for a few months. And, you know, it started off pretty good because the lady said, well, I don't be at home a lot, I work a lot. Well, come to find out, the lady was home all the time. I had no privacy. My daughter didn't have any privacy. So I'm like, man, I have got to get out of here. So while I was in training, once the academy was over, I graduated from the academy, they sent us to our jails, the jail where we would be working. And once I got to my jail, they paired me up with an FTO, my field training officer. She was going to show me how the jail worked. I was going to be with her until I knew how that jail worked. She was a really good FTO. And not only did she train me, she gave me a lot of advice. So as time went by, you know, working with her and we're getting to know each other, she, you know, one night we came up on the conversation of living arrangements. So I'm like, you know, I think I remember asking her, you know, where do you all live? I mean, are there some nice apartments around here? She's like, oh yeah. She said, plenty of apartments around here. I said, well, you know, I don't want to live in a hood or anything. I just want a nice apartment. She said, oh girl, she said, my apartment is nice and it's not in the hood. I live maybe 25, 30 minutes away from here. I said, really? She said, yeah. So she gave me the name of the apartments, and I was like, wow, thank you. She said, where you living now? So I told her where I was living and what I was saying. She said, girl, you're paying $730 for a room? She said, girl, that's an apartment out here. She said, it's not ghetto. She said, the apartments are nice. And so I said, okay, I'm going to check it out. On my next off day, I'm going to check it out. So as my off day rolled around, I was telling my daughter about it, and I got a day that she was off. So we were both off that day. And we went and looked at some apartments, put in an application and everything. And it took a while. And we were going into December. Yeah, it took a while because we were like going into the spring. I think we were around the month of February, March, April, around April, May, somewhere around the end of May. So around that time, you know, it was trying to warm up a little, and I received a call that, you know, we have 2 apartments available. You can come check them out and see which one you want. Well, the one I really wanted from her description was too late moving because I had to work and I couldn't see it. So I said, wow, man, I missed that. So she called me back like a couple of days later. She said, hey, I have another apartment available. It's not like the other apartment, but it's nice. She said, you can come see it. I said, please hold that. I'm on my way. Excuse me. So I told my daughter, I said, listen, we have to go look at this apartment. If I like it, I want to put a deposit on it, and I want it. So we got my daughter, we went, we looked at the apartment. It was a nice area. There was a food grocery store down the road. Everything was around us. I'm like, okay, I can do this. So, you know, went in, talked with the lady. She told me what I would need and everything. I got it. I said, I want this apartment. So here comes this issue. In order to get that apartment, I either had to pay this lady her $730 for the month for the room, or take those $730 that I owed her for the room and pay to the apartment complex so my daughter and I could move in. And it wasn't a hard decision. I wanted to get out of there. The lady she was from Africa. We had a language barrier. She was always complaining that my daughter was loud at night, and my daughter, you know, my daughter was like in her early 20s, and she had her earbuds in. So I know, you know, she wasn't loud. Every night, every morning I would come home, there was always an issue. Well, your daughter did this, your daughter did that. I'm like, I am sick of this. I worked all night, I'm trying to sleep. I do not want to hear this. And so as things went on, I'm like, so with all that going on, I would clean her apartment so that, because she wasn't a very tidy lady, so I would keep things clean. I'm like, you know, I was getting really pissed. I said, you know, I said to myself, this lady's gonna think I'm her maid. I said, nah. So that's what made the decision easier when I found, you know, all this hit. I'm like, yeah, it's time to leave. So that day we had, while we were there, we did order a bunk bed from Rent-A-Center, and we slept on that because she had mice. And we were sleeping on mattresses when we first got there. And one of the little mice bit a hole in the mattress, bit a hole in mine and my daughter. So that's how we ended up getting the bunk beds. So when I had finally made up my mind that we were gonna leave, we were gonna get the apartment, I went ahead and called Rent-A-Center and told them to come get the bunk bed. So I'm like praying everything is on time. They get the bunk bed, we get the rest of our stuff out of there, and we leave. So it worked. God is good. It worked out good. They came, they got the bunk bed the day before we left. We just kept our door closed to the room. And that morning when she got up to go to work, I had just got in from work. I was exhausted. I worked 8 hours, 11 to 7. I was tired. Had made like an hour plus drive home, and I didn't go to sleep. When she left and we waited a while to make sure she was gone, we started packing up the vehicles. So when we got everything packed, I took her key off my keys, put it on the table, locked the door, closed her bedroom door, and we left. I hated to do it that way, but I needed peace of mind. I was like really stressed out. I was already new to the area, new job. Every day there was always something about my daughter did this, my daughter did that. I'm like, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I made that decision to just take my money and get the apartment. So once we got to the area where the apartment was, I went in, signed my paperwork, got my key. This is like about 12 o'clock now, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We drove over to the apartment, did a quick look around. I was exhausted. Remember, I hadn't gotten any sleep. So I was kind of running on adrenaline. So I went to my car, we unloaded the cars, turned the air on because it was really warm that day. We were getting into the month of June then. It was hot. Closed the blinds, turned the air on, got into the room, closed the shades down, we went to sleep. We were exhausted. We went to sleep probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When we woke up, it was dark. We were exhausted. We were basically sleeping on blankets, and we had our pillow, but we were sleeping on blankets. But it's the best rest, I swear. I hadn't slept that good since I had been in Maryland. And we did it. So as time went by, we woke up. We found out that the grocery store was right down the road. We went, picked up some groceries, filled up the refrigerator. While we were out, we went and had dinner, and brought the groceries home, put them up, and we went back to sleep. I think I was off for the next 2 or 3 days. So it was good. We had our own place. We could do what we want to do, and we were happy. And it was God that led me to do the things that I did. That's why a lot of people say that, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I'm afraid. You have to have faith. If you know in your heart that you're not happy at your job, and I wasn't, that you want better for your life, and I did. I was tired of working living off paycheck to paycheck. That's not living, that's existing. I wanted to live. I wanted to be able to pay my bills and travel. And that's what I wanted. And so that's how I ended up being a correctional officer in Maryland. God is good, because I started off sleeping in my Jeep. I went from one apartment. I stayed in my first apartment for 2 years. I moved from that apartment to another apartment, maybe about 30 minutes from that apartment. It was surrounded by water. I love the apartment. I love that too. I stayed there for about 2 years. And my next move, I moved to another apartment, another part of Maryland. Because for me, I didn't know the areas. So I would stay in an apartment 2 years, and you talk to your coworkers, this is a nice apartment, and I would move. I said, oh, I like that. I stayed in another apartment 2 years, my coworkers said, oh, this is another cool apartment, and I would move. The last apartment I moved to was beautiful. It had everything I wanted. It was in an area that I liked. I was 5 minutes from the mall. I was in the middle of everything, and I loved it. I stayed there exactly a year. And from there, I purchased my home. It was the best feeling in the world. That's when I said, God is good. He led me. He kept me strong. There were days, the days weren't always good. There were plenty of days I cried. The weather was freezing when we were homeless. Listening to this lady complain about my daughter all the time. There were some stressful days. But through God and prayer, I made it. And I'm a living testimony that if you step out and have faith in God, He will lead you to the rest. And that's what He did for me. And I am so thankful. I'm blessed. I'm not where I want to be in life, but I'm getting there. There's plenty more to do. I'm 58 years old. I'll be 59 in April. And life is good. And I'm still out there trying to find my way with things I want to do. I don't know where life is going to take me next, but the journey has to be amazing. As long as I keep God first in my life, I know my next journey, whatever it may be, is going to be good. I hope this video gives someone some inspiration to step out and have faith in God. Step out there, put God first. You can do anything you want to do. Just like I said, I'm a living testimony. I went from living in my car, now I'm living in a 3-bedroom house. And that's God. It took a minute. It didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen in a couple of months. It took some time, but I worked my butt off at the jail. I did doubles on top of doubles. I got my money from my home. The Lord blessed me with a beautiful home. He blessed me with a car that didn't have any miles on it. I was the first one to get that car. The first one to get that car off the truck that it came on. Yeah, I got it off the truck. 0 miles, brand new. Yeah. And I said, God is good. God is good. For all y'all, if you like this video, please subscribe, share, comment, And remember, you got this. Put God first. You got this. Thanks for watching my video. Have a good day.